Well, the time is just gone 10 minutes past 8 as we kick off this morning on News and Views right here on Salam Media, going across straight to Ramallah in the West Bank. We're joined by journalists based in Palestine. We're talking with Osama Nazzal. Osama, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, wonderful that you're able to join us. And obviously, the carnage, the brutality, the genocide is still relentless. In fact, one day is worse than the other. If we thought about the hospital that was bombed, next moment we hear of Jabalia. And obviously, the same would go in the West Bank. And each day is becoming worse than the other, Osama.
Yes, Israel has started like a fully fledged war against all the people of Palestine everywhere, as its war jets and its tanks are bombarding and shelling every piece and part of Gaza Strip without any regard to the housing and the civilian areas, without any regard to the civil institutions and civil facilities. They are bombarding hospitals, they are bombarding schools, they are bombarding everything, everything. Just last night, they killed our colleague, Muhammad Abu Hatab, the reporter of Palestine TV. And the catastrophe becomes bigger as they don't only kill the journalist himself, but they kill the journalist and his family. Muhammad Abu Hatab, who used to be on our screen every day since the start of the Israeli war on our people in Gaza, was bombarded yesterday in his house. He was giving the report, and after he finished, he went to his house in order to see his wife and his child. And just when he got into his house, the Israeli war jets bombarded him, killing his wife, and killing his child. It's really unbelievable. You can't imagine how much pain and how much agony the people of Palestine have these days because you don't have one corner or 1 inch of the Gaza Strip safe. Death is pursuing every Palestinian, child, young, old, man, woman in the Gaza Strip. Most of the hospitals now in the Gaza Strip declared that they are going to run out of service because there's no more fuel and they can't operate without the fuel. And the Israeli occupation prime minister announced yesterday that he is not going to allow any fuel into Gaza. It is a catastrophe, really. The West Bank, where I'm speaking from, just now, my brother, we had 6 Palestinian youths killed by the Israeli occupation forces, 4 of them in the occupied city of Jenin and its refugee camp, and 2 in Al Fawar refugee camp near Hebron in southern occupied West Bank. You can't move from one town to another as Israel is tightening its blockade on every part of the West Bank, shooting in every direction, attacking homes, torturing the young people before the eyes of their sisters, brothers, and parents. It's unbearable. It's barbaric, really. Just 2 days ago, they detained a number of Palestinian workers in Hebron, in the occupied West Bank. I'm not talking about Gaza now. They undressed them completely and they humiliated, they insulted them. That scene reminded all the people of the Arab world who watched that video of the Abu Ghraib prison when the American colonial forces tortured the Iraqi detainees when the colonial power of the United States was occupying Iraq. So you can't imagine how barbaric, how murderous, how inhumane the Israeli occupation forces are these days.
Well, definitely. And I think what you're saying about the United States of America and you're talking about Abu Ghraib in Iraq in terms of what had happened. And yet we have the world and sometimes even the Arab world calling on the United States of America to do something when they've been guilty of the very same atrocities that we find the Zionists, this occupier, guilty of in Palestinian prisons. And obviously they've also been part and parcel to bombing Iraq, to bombing Afghanistan, to ethnic cleansing in their very own country, the native Indians that were cleansed. Yet the world seems to rely on the likes of the United States of America, calling the United States of America to do something. And we believe that even the US Secretary of State Blinken is again meeting today with Benjamin Netanyahu.
He is not only meeting the Israeli occupation Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he is going to participate in the meeting of the Israeli government of war, as the United States is directly involved in the massacres that are being committed against the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip. And the American president announced more than one time that they sent thousands of American forces to act as experts and to provide advice to the Israeli occupation forces how to get into Gaza, how to handle the situation when they are in Gaza, and all that. The United States is the first power in the Western countries that rejected the International Security Council call for a ceasefire. The United States is the first power now on the planet that rejected the United Nations General Assembly resolution that called for immediate ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. The United States President just yesterday said that they don't accept a ceasefire in Gaza. Israel should continue its work in Gaza, but all that they allow is like breaks in the war, to give just a pause in order to allow some nationals who have double citizenship and they are now in Gaza to give them time to leave Gaza, mainly those who have the American passport. But after they leave Gaza, then you can resume bombarding the refugee camps, the schools, the hospitals there, and claim the lives of the innocent Palestinian children. My bro, we are talking about 9,000 Palestinians killed in Gaza until now. 2,000 people are still under the rubble and their fate unknown. They might all be dead now under the rubble. So you're talking about 11,000 people of the Gaza Strip dead because of the Israeli bombs and the Israeli missiles. And the United States President and his Secretary of State, who is in the region now, say that no need for a ceasefire. All that is needed is just a pause in order to allow the American nationals who live in Gaza to leave, and that's it. So the blood of the Palestinian children and the Palestinian women in the Gaza Strip, in the occupied West Bank, and anywhere means nothing to the United States administration and to other Western governments, like the British government that sent the bombs and the tanks and the military gear to the Israeli occupation forces against the defenseless people of Palestine.
And also, as a journalist yourself, and we know that many journalists have actually been killed. And looking at just journalism around the world and how they've been covering it, the use of language is extremely important because there are many journalists that refer to this as a conflict. And in conflict, it's uneven. Because the thing is, this is not a conflict. Even if they refer to the those that have been taken by Hamas, and they refer to those having been kidnapped, and they refer to them as hostages. Now there is no ransom at this point in time. This is not kidnapping. These are prisoners of war that have been taken in, and it's just so important the use of language when one sees the world media, the mainstream media, the type of language that they actually use to describe this carnage, to describe this brutality, to describe this genocide. And we've seen it right across mainstream media and also social media, Osama.
It is not only a matter of language and terms, it is much beyond that. And we saw how most of the Western mainstream media did everything possible in order to dehumanize the Palestinian people and to demonize the Palestinian people and presenting the Palestinian people as killers and murderers of innocent children and women, which is not true at all. But they did that in order to live up to the expectations of the Israeli occupation government and the Israeli occupation extremist ministers like Benjamin Netanyahu, Ben-Gvir, and Smotrich, whose hands are stained with the blood of the innocent Palestinian children and the Palestinian women in the Gaza Strip. The Western media presented a lot of fake stories, and we all saw how some of the journalists working for these media outlets apologized 4 or 5 days later after the 7th of October because they discovered that the Israeli occupation government used artificial intelligence in order to fabricate stories and to present them to the public audience of the Western countries. So it is regrettable to discover that you colleagues who have the same profession, media and journalism, working for the politicians whose only mission today is to kill, to colonize, to take over the land, and to turn the people of Palestine into refugees and homeless people. So yes, the mainstream media outlets in the United States and in Britain in particular had acted according to the policy and according to the plan set by the Israeli occupation regime in order not to allow any person in the West to sympathize with the people of Palestine and with the cause of Palestine. What is more dangerous is that they presented the Palestinian cause as if it started on the 7th of October, and they forgot that the Palestinian cause started in 1948 when the colonial power of Britain gave Palestine to the Zionist gangs that committed massacres at that time and caused the Nakba of Palestine, the Nakba that is still ongoing. What we see now in the Gaza Strip and in the occupied West Bank is merely a consequence of the Nakba that the colonial power of Britain inflicted on the Palestinian people by taking the Jews out of Europe and bringing them here to colonize in Palestine in place of the indigenous people of Palestine. So there is no impartiality, no neutrality, no objectivity in the work of the mainstream Western media these days. They are helping Israel in every step to exterminate the Palestinians in Gaza, because what's going on in Gaza is extermination process, my bro. We saw how they bombarded the school of Jabalia yesterday with phosphorus bombs, how they burned bodies of the Palestinian children. It's unbelievable, unbelievable. While we are talking now, there are 2,000 Palestinian children and women under the rubble. Yes.
Yes. Osama, I'm going to put you on hold. I need to take a quick ad break. I'll be back with you in a minute.
Thank you.
Listen to Salam Media.
The Ahmad School of Excellence in Lebanon provides world-class education to Syrian and Palestinian refugees and Lebanese children with a library, coding, robotics lab, special needs classroom, and more. Amman is the foundation from which a generation of underprivileged children can fight poverty and reclaim their freedom. Donate towards a child's education because every child deserves the chance of a better future. Africa Muslims Agency, empowering, educating, inspiring.
Conveniently located along the banks of the Crocodile River bordering the Kruger National Park. As a guest at Buckler's Africa Lodge, one can enjoy an amazing sunrise or sunset on our spacious deck area while you catch a glimpse of some wildlife sightings along the Crocodile River. The sounds of the African savannah will greet you whilst you enjoy your morning coffee. Buckler's Africa Lodge by Tingana Collection. Buckler's Africa Lodge is ideally situated only 6 kilometers from the Crocodile Bridge Gate in the Kruger National Park, catering for all travelers with all types of the finest rooms, superior rooms, deluxe rooms, deluxe suites, and 2-bedroomed family units. Each room is equipped with the finest amenities to make your stay unforgettable. Guests can choose between the self-catering option or book their accommodation with breakfast and dinner included. Buckler's Africa Lodge is your ideal location for the ultimate Kruger getaway experience. We specialize in exhilarating and educational game drives in Kruger, tailor-made to suit your family. Inquire about our various accommodation offerings and other activities. Visit www.tingana.co.za for more information. Buckler's Africa Lodge by Tingana Collection. Experience the pulse of Africa with us.
Ah, the kitchen, the heart of the home, where memories are made and celebrated. Our go-to place for those freshly stacked pancakes early in the morning or for that late-night snack munchies. We are in there together, cooking, eating and celebrating life together. Let's keep the kitchen a place that is shared by everyone, where we build stronger bonds and grow together. Sunfoil, Now We Cooking. Visit nowwecooking.co.za for recipes that everyone can help make.
The Turkey-Syria earthquake is among the deadliest earthquakes of the last century. Thousands have lost their lives, and large areas and cities and towns in southern Turkey and northern Syria have turned to rubble, leaving huge numbers of residents with very little or nothing at all. Al-Imdad Foundation's emergency relief team is on the ground providing life-saving aid. The people of Turkey and Syria desperately need your support. Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information. Rejuvenating media day by day. This is Salam Media.
Well, we continue with the broadcast this morning with journalists based in Ramallah. We're speaking with Osama Nazzal as we continue our discussion this morning on what is happening in Palestine. Osama, just to continue, and I'm looking at a message that has come up on my screen from one of our viewers talking about Islamic states that must declare war on Israel and the United States of America to save human lives. War does not mean firearms, but also a cause. Expel all diplomats. Every state can play their part while brave Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis, and Mujahideen fighting on the fields. Now, this is clear that there has been a lot of talk about the Arab nations and about the Arab response to what is happening to the people of Palestine, and many, many calls. We see it on the streets of the Arab lands, from Cairo to Bahrain to Turkey and most Muslim countries, Pakistan, and right across the entire world, where the streets are actually full with protests for this to end. And this includes even Jewish people in New York. We've seen Jews for Palestine in the UK as well. So right across the entire world, on the ground, people are highly, highly concerned and calling for an end to this carnage. But also at the same time, our eyes are on the Muslim world. How is the Muslim world? How is the Arab world? How are these governments going to react?
Frankly speaking, my bro, Gaza is disappointed, really. The people of Palestine are disappointed by the position of the Arab and Islamic governments, because they are giving just only statements and words, but no actions on the ground. Now the war is close to 1 month, and you know that Gaza is besieged from all the sides, and no Arab country allowed the access of any kind of supply, whether water, food, as I said before, no fuel, medicine, waiting for a green light from the United States of America and from Israel. And this is shattering, really, the soul of every Arab and every Muslim person. Why should these states, why should these governments wait for green light from America and from Israel to save the lives of the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip? The Palestinians never called on the Arab governments to send their army and fight on behalf of the Palestinians. No. The Palestinians just call on these governments and these states to get aid, humanitarian aid, into Gaza, to allow the fuel to get into the hospitals, As I told you, a Turkey Friendship Hospital stopped working completely in Gaza because there's no fuel. The Indonesian hospital in Gaza is going to stop in the next few hours or few days, and only 70% of its capacity is working now, according to the reports from the doctors there, because there's no fuel. And the directors of the hospitals, the human rights organizations in Palestine, all the Palestinian people are appealing and calling on the Arab states not to wait for a green light from the United States of America, from Britain, and from Israel, and help save the lives of their children in the Gaza Strip. But they don't listen to the Palestinians, and they listen to the Americans and to the Israelis. When they allowed very, very few trucks of aid to get into Gaza, without the fuel, of course, these trucks were inspected and checked by the Israeli occupation forces on the other part of the crossing of Rafah. Isn't that humiliating to all Muslims and Arabs around the world? Why this weakness? Why this fragility? We are a nation. We have our resources. We have our potentials. We have our human resources who are doing great job around the world. So why to keep waiting for a green light to provide the humanitarian aid for your people? Because the people of Palestine are part of this nation. We are not coming from another planet. But when it comes to the public opinion, yes, of course, our friends, our brothers and sisters around the world proved that they strongly believe in the justice of the cause of Palestine, and they strongly believe in the rights of the people of Palestine, and they defied and challenged the orders set by the governments in their countries to ban demonstrations and the protest in support of Palestine and in support of stopping the Israeli massacres in Gaza. And we saw how many demonstrators, whether in the United States, in Germany, or in London, were attacked by the police of these governments. But they were not afraid, and they continued to raise their voice. And we saw how hundreds of thousands of people in different Western capitals and Arab capitals and everywhere in the world took to the streets calling for rescuing the lives of the children of Gaza. And this is the only hope, really, that the people of Palestine have, that these demonstrations and these protests would continue today and tomorrow and around the clock until these governments and these parliaments get to the fact that the massacre can't continue, and to end the existence of the Palestinian people is a mission impossible. If they green light killing 2.3 million Palestinians in Gaza, then we have another 11 million Palestinians here in the West Bank and around the world. And no one of these Palestinians would give up Jerusalem or give up one drop of soil of Palestine, because the resistance and the fight for the liberation of Palestine is not a mission given to the people of Gaza only. No, every Palestinian anywhere has the passion and the decision and the intention to one day return to their homes here in the homeland of their ancestors and forefathers, Palestine, Al-Quds, Jerusalem.
Well, certainly, Osama, and that is the reason why we say Palestine is not only about a nation, it's about a cause seeking justice, a cause that seeks freedom, a cause that seeks an end to oppression, brutality, genocide, deprivation, degradation, you name it, and words cannot be enough. But this is the reason why the Palestinian nation has been resilient for the last 75 years, and this is the reason why this cause will never end, and it will never even end, even if they've got to destroy Gaza and they've got to just flatten it to the ground and remove each and every Palestinian out of Gaza. It still won't end because this cause will continue, and we firmly believe in this cause. And peace-loving people, activists right across the entire world who have embraced this cause of Palestine will continue embracing this cause, will continue supporting the people of Palestine until they achieve liberation, until they achieve freedom, inshallah. And that is our prayer, that is our dua for the people of Palestine today. It is the day of Friday, it is a blessed day, it is a holy day, and that is our prayer, our dua for the people of Palestine, that victory will be ours, inshallah. And with that, Usama, we thank you. We say Jazakallah to you for your time this morning with us here on Salam Media. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam. My pleasure. Thank you.
Osama Nazzal with us out of Ramallah this morning. And with that, we're going to go for a break. We come back. We will be focusing on Afghans that have been deported by Pakistan.